You have the floor.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. The past few days with the resignation of the Minister of Finance has really caused me to reflect particularly on the leadership style and the people management of our Premier as leader and head of the cabinet. And I've just been taking a look at the experiences, in particular the public resignations that we've seen over the last couple of years. And it just brings to my attention with some concern just exactly how the cabinet is being managed. This is a senior team of people. They've come together from different disciplines and are working hard as a collective responsibility to provide the best and service to Bermuda as they possibly can. But as I just reflect over some of the experiences that the public has had to endure through some of the behavior of our cabinet ministers over the years, I just am now becoming more concerned about the leadership of the cabinet and the management style and his ability to make sure that there is certainly a level of responsibility and accountability to the people of Bermuda. And I began by the rather brushed over reaction to the first of the public disgraces of a minister who was traveling overseas on government business, on the taxpayer's dime, and the result that we received back here in Bermuda and consequently globally was a very disrespectful, public, well-produced video of something that was derogatory to women in particular and insulting to the people of Bermuda as a standard of which I believe most of us would like to aspire to much better than that. And I reflect on that and I think, well, you know, why wouldn't the Premier have used something like that as a teachable moment? He has in 2018, it's published the Ministerial Code of Conduct. We're all very proud to see that something concrete had been put into place. And it lays out there, even in the first pages, they're like crib notes, Mr. Speaker. So it's not even like you need to read the 20 pages of this booklet. But in the first few pages, stuck right there in a few words, basically the instructions on how to have some form of integrity and accountability and management for yourself as a cabinet minister. But that's not the case. That's not the response we got. Instead, the bad behavior of the minister was brushed over, it was swept under the carpet, and we moved on. Very few lessons seem to have been learned from that. And before I go on, I was actually looking at that video again, which to me is very disturbing, but we won't go there today. But as I was looking at where the minister was while he was overseas, I thought, you know what? This person was so off in left field. And here we were seeing an entrepreneurial, innovative concept of a cereal store. And I thought, this minister completely missed the boat on this. Here he could have come back to Bermuda. He could have been in that store going, wow, this is a great idea. How can I bring these seeds of innovation back to the people of Bermuda? How can I generate that kind of creativity here on this island? But no, he's sitting there making fun of things, respecting women, and then gets a pat on the back, Mr. Speaker, and told it, take your seat and move on. All right, so Mr. Speaker, we move on without any public acknowledgement that the Premier has in any way given any kind of instruction or training or desensitization of a vast majority of people in Bermuda, women. We come back, we get back to business, everybody sort of brushes off, forgets about that. And then the next thing we know, Mr. Speaker, we've got another person who has inappropriately made sexual comments to a civil servant, no less. A civil servant. And what does he get in return? Oh, yes, all right. So he, whether he wanted to or not, he signs the letter, he walks off, and then a few months later, he's promoted and appointed to leader of the Senate. And I believe he was given a junior ministry. I'm saying that, Mr. Speaker, to say here goes, now we're past teachable moments. Where was the leadership? Where was the management of the team at a critical and super obvious situation? This isn't anything that's like unclear or we're not sure. This was blatant bad behavior, and the leadership did absolutely nothing to rectify the situation. And you know why I know that, Mr. Speaker? Because it happened again. It happened again. And then we get stuck with a global pandemic. And yes, absolutely, we followed the rules by the book. The entire world, we followed those instructions. Every single person here in Bermuda followed those instructions, except 2 of our ministers. They decide they're going to go off and party. One of them was the one who gave the exemption to have the party. Mr. Speaker, I am so upset. I am so upset because here we have now a trend of bad behavior in the cabinet, and where's the leadership? Where's the people management skills to train these folks up and tell them this is not right? We have a collective responsibility to behave ourselves and to represent ourselves the way we're supposed to. And you know what's even worse, Mr. Speaker, is that I'm going to speak to one of those ministers was doing a really, really good job. You could see he was committed. You could see he knew how to do his job. Now, why would he be led down a garden path like that, Mr. Speaker, without anybody there to support and tell him, hey, wait, whoa. There are certain things we cannot do when we're doing it in our capacity as a public officer. And as a minister, there's even greater responsibility. That's what you're getting paid for. I am so disappointed. And it doesn't end there. Mr. Speaker, it goes on. And yes, those 2 resigned, and they've taken their seat. Whether it's been for the good of Bermuda or the bad, we don't know, but we'll never know. Because the leadership of that cabinet did absolutely nothing to remediate the situation. They've gone off now. Those ministers have gone off now. We don't know if they'll ever be back. And then, Mr. Speaker, we turn around, and you know what? I have most respect for the MP in constituency number 4, I believe. She sat there for this motion to adjourn today, and she spoke to the vulnerability of our seniors. She spoke to the abuses of family members upon seniors. And then we have another member of parliament, senator, who has blatantly disrespected and been, at least allegedly, projected himself as being superior over a senior. And we all know what the economic situation is for the best of us. So imagine being a senior and receiving that kind of treatment and behavior. and no one in the leadership did anything. They knew it. Our leader knew the situation and did nothing. Didn't even sit him down and tell him what's right and what's wrong. And then only when he gets caught or exposed does he have to tender his resignation and accept a resignation. This is not the behavior of a leader, and it has nothing to do with the management of people, Mr. Speaker, and I'm very upset about that. You know why I'm really, really upset about it? Because then we have what I would consider to be one of the ministers that has demonstrated the greatest of integrity, that has shown responsibility, has carried collective responsibility. And you know what he did? I cannot believe it, Mr. Speaker. He chose to resign. Couldn't take it anymore. Don't know why. But when you've got a situation where you've got a
Point of order, Mr. Speaker.
Yes, put your point of order.
Yes, that member does not speak for a former minister. And while she can speculate, she needs to not phrase things in such a way as though she knows. It's pure speculation on her behalf. And I think if she's that sensitive, she would be sensitive enough to know that perhaps it is up to that member to choose when and if he's going to speak. Show him that courtesy and respect, Mr. Speaker. Thank you.
Thank you, member. You can give her a viewpoint, but you can't speak what he says because he hasn't spoken yet.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, but he has resigned. It doesn't matter. It really doesn't matter. The point that I'm making, Mr. Speaker, is that when you have the behavior, what is almost serial bad behavior of not only cabinet, but other members of this parliament, and we see the rash of resignations that have taken place because of bad behavior, published and publicly acknowledged bad behavior. And then when you see a minister that has shown all integrity, all commitment, all collective responsibility, has worked tirelessly in the most difficult portfolio of the cabinet, and he tenders his resignation. He tendered it. He wrote it out purposefully. I do not want to do this anymore, and walks away. That says to me that there's something that's not right. And
she's still there.
unfortunately, with collective responsibility, Mr. Speaker, it falls on...
MP Fugger, your mic is on.
No, it's not, Mr. Speaker. That wasn't me.
And so I am suggesting that there be some serious inner thinking and contemplating on what to do to strengthen the cabinet. I don't know what suggests, I'm not the leader, but there's something that needs to be done to circle the team and figure this out, because they may have 30 people over there.
Who are you, Susan, our new consultant?
If you have...
MP, if you got a point of order, make a point of order. We ain't gonna let this debate get deteriorated. If you have a point of order or clarification, you get my attention first. You are not allowing any shouting up.
Okay, Mr. Speaker, got you.
So, sorry, Mr. Speaker. So if we've got, the government has 30 members to choose from, that whatever comes next, and whether that is a change in leadership, or whether that's a form of a reshuffle, whatever that needs to happen, the cabinet needs to get itself cohesive. They need to rethink what's going to happen in the future, because, Mr. Speaker, we are about to go on a very rough ride. And it's not just Bermuda, but I must absolutely say that Bermuda is going to experience a lifestyle of which it is not accustomed to. People are feeling it now, big time. And so the cabinet needs to come to grips with that. Whatever it is that needs to happen so that they can gather themselves and strengthen themselves and figure out what needs to be done in order to carry this country forward, we're going to be in big trouble. Big trouble, Mr. Speaker. And I'm worried. I'm worried for all the people who are out there that are suffering right now, that are looking to the government, who are looking to the cabinet for inspiration, for instruction. They want to be able to trust in something. But right now, they're not feeling or seeing any of that. And so I'm going to leave it there, Mr. Speaker. I'm definitely throwing down that gauntlet. Cabinet and under whatever the leadership, whether the leadership has to change or the leadership needs to get itself sorted out as far as its people management is concerned. But we need all hands on deck, and all hands need to be clean. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you, MP. Does any other member